Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Let's get right into it. As I said yesterday, the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And this particular topic I'm going to touch on today has been requested by a lot of you. So we're going to get right into it. Now, I'm aware of that in many cultures and different communities, it's taboo to mention this, but until we as a culture and as a society feel safe enough to talk about depression, it's gonna take over. Do you not realize I've looked at some statistics, and in the black community in particular, African American community, depression is like almost at an 85% rate. The highest rates of people ending their lives is coming from black males. And another alarming rate of people ending things on this side, without me saying the word, is coming from clergymen, black clergymen. So y'all, we have to address depression. And since we have decided that this is the month to talk about mental health awareness, we as a culture, as a community, as a race of people who have been traumatized, scarred, battered, beaten down, systemically mistreated, we have to address things going on in our own communities. If we don't take a stand against it, no one else is. And you've got to tell the truth about it and stop pretending that that's not a problem in our culture. See, the days that you experience what you think is just feeling down in the dumps, when the days turn into weeks and months and years, something is wrong. When the days are that you just feel a little uptight, you're anxious, feeling a little bit of stress, when that rolls over into weeks and months and years, that is a problem in our community. We have been taught historically to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and go on. If you work a little harder, nobody's going to give you anything. We have post-traumatic stress stemming from our ancestors, stemming from what our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents went through. And all of that has gone undiagnosed and untreated for years. You got women now who after their first child say they can't make it. They got post-traumatic, or they got PMS. They got all kind of things, labels for it. What about the women that had 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 children, 20 children, and not once did they say I have postpartum and I can't get up and go to work? Those are issues in our community, in our culture. I am not for once saying postpartum isn't real, but what I am saying is there have been women historically, it never had a name for it in the 1800s, early 1900s. There was no name on it. When you would see these women with children, some of them nursing babies, and they still going to work in the fields, or they still going, taking in ironing and washing and doing all of this stuff. Some of us have watched our grandmother. We didn't know what was going on, but some of our grandmothers were suffering with depression and we just didn't know it. Sometimes they'll be shedding tears and crying, and it wasn't just because ain't enough money to feed all of these children here. It could have been something else. Some of these people was dealing with trauma from their past, from their generation, and it just went on from generation to generation without treatment. There's a famous theologian named Charles Spurgeon, and he's a great theologian, and he had in one of his books, he said, the mind can descend far lower than the body. The body can bear wounds, but when a person's heart and soul is wounded, their mind can only take so much before it shuts down and collapses. I strongly agree with that. What he is saying is, your body can take beatings. We can take beatings, we can take licks, wounds, wrap that thing up, put some antiseptic on it, some and keep going on. But when that heart and that mind is broken somewhere, something inside of that person gets broken, they cannot bear those wounds for a long period of time without, at some point, you're at a breaking point. The mind can only bear so much. You can carry just so much. Mental illness is nothing new. This is nothing new. It's just something in the black community, the Latino community. Those are just things you don't talk about. You just get out there and make the best of whatever hand that you're dealt. You go and pick up the scraps and the crumbs and be happy that you got that. You go, and when they're killing hogs and slaughtering animals, when they're doing that, well, then you happy to clean the chitlins, take the chitlins home. You happy to get the backbone, fry up the fat for cracklings. You're happy with that. You're told and you are conditioned to make the best of whatever situation you're in. And then they use the Bible to beat you with that. Paul said in his word, be content with what you have. Just be happy where you are. Do you hear how messed up that is and how misconstrued that is? That is not even an accurate depiction of what Paul is saying. Because first of all, Paul is talking to a whole bunch of wealthy people that really ain't got no problems. They're just greedy for more and more. And he's telling them, y'all stop being greedy. And you can only have how many more $1 million you need? You already got 300 million. How much more you need? Leave some for somebody else. That's what he was saying. But it's mental illness has been in families for years, but it's been kept hidden. It was not talked about. It went unspoken of. Now, it's hard to cover that now. See, now it's coming out in your children, in your nieces and nephews, in your grandchildren. Certain things are showing up in their behavior that could be something they inherited. I'm just putting it out there. See, we have reached a point now when there's so many substances available to these people out there. And when they get on these substances, and y'all remember this. Remember when we used to make a joke of Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so. Oh, you know Annie just having her little drink on and she crazy today. You know how Unc is. Unc get crazy when he get on that gin. No. Unc don't need the gin to be crazy, y'all. You understand? And I'm saying that fondly, but no, Aunt and Annie don't need the substance because there's something missing in them, something going on up here before the substance comes. So we can no longer sit idly and keep quiet and turn a blind eye to mental illness in our communities. When you look around your community, I'm going to tell you this. Everybody is not institutionalized. Everybody, you can't just throw them away and put them in the institution and send them somewhere and forget about them and nobody sees them. And keep them locked away and keep that little secret hidden away in your family. Look around, folks. Everywhere you go, every single day, there is somebody in that workplace, in that grocery store, in that mall, in that church, struggling are suffering in silence with a mental illness. People say, well, I was surprised when that happened. Why were you surprised? There were warning signs that you missed or you just ignored. Some of you, you know that little boy is doing things and you think it's cute now, but it's not going to be cute when he's a grown man doing these same things. You think it's cute that little girl saying this and doing that now. Is that really cute? It's going to catch up at some point. What causes these mental breakdowns, mental illnesses? I'll tell you, some people say, you ever used to hear people say, oh, you know, so-and-so, she had a nervous breakdown. Oh, you know, she had to go away for a while. As a little girl, I used to wonder, what does that mean? Oh, you know, you have to be gentle with how you talk to her. You have to be careful what you say because you know she just come out that place. Never knew what they were talking about. Never knew when they would say, well, you know she had a breakdown, girl. Suffering in silence. What causes that? I'll tell you some of the things I think and I believe. And you got to remember, I may sometimes come from a therapist perspective because I am trained in therapy. And one of the causes of mental illness is trauma. Childhood trauma or some type of trauma a person experience, and sometimes it gets locked or they get stuck in that state. Like I'll use a just general illustration. If as a child you locked that child in the closet all the time and kept that child in the dark, that child grows up with a phobia. Or some people have a phobia of heights. Some people have a phobia of getting near water because as a child, someone thought it was a brilliant idea to pick them up and throw them in the pool or in the river and say, okay, this is how you learn how to swim. So now they're traumatized of water. Some people are traumatized by fire. Different traumas. And some of the traumas I'm going to touch on is, I'm going to trigger you. I'm going to give you a trigger warning. Some of it is abuse. Some of it is abuse. And there are many different types of abuse. And I'm going to let you put the label in front of it. That abuse has traumatized that person. Grief is a form, it causes mental illness. Just grief, unresolved grief that goes on and lingers on. Disorganized thoughts, mood swings. Some people have highs, they lows. They like to put a label on it now, call them manic depressive or bipolar disorder. But think about years and years and years ago, there was no name for these things, and it went on in our communities. Going on right now, some people undiagnosed. Oh, well, you know, she in one of her moods today. Wait a minute, but she always in that mood. And 20 minutes later, this person is happy, just happy-go-lucky, like nothing is wrong, and then all of a sudden they crash and burn again. These things go on. Another thing is inherited traits that we just overlook. Life situations, whatever the cost may be for the illness, please pay attention. Pay attention to the symptoms and the warning signs. Depression, stress, withdrawal, extreme mood swings, can't get out of bed for weeks on end. Any of these can range in severity, but you've got to pay attention to the symptoms, and you got to pay attention to your symptoms. You've got to know when you got to disconnect. You got to know when it's time for you to take a time out. You've got to work on your wellness and your mental health care. And when you are feeling overloaded and overwhelmed, you've got to stop, take a break, and say, I got to stop right now. This is too much. Because as Dr. Spurgeon says, a person's brain can only take so much. Emotionally, you can only take so much before you reach your breaking point. So pay attention to your family. When I hear people say, well, you know what, they didn't look like they had a care in the world. They were so happy. Yeah, but the note they left behind indicated something different. You ignored something you missed. Sometimes people have practiced for so long, they practice being normal. They act normal and pretend everything is okay when they're falling apart inside. Every day, whether you know it or not, you come in contact with somebody whose mental state is not good. Please listen to me today. So many undiagnosed people out there who are in need of professional help. There are hotlines available. Please program these hotlines in your cell phones. Please keep your pastors on speed dial. That's what pastors are supposed to do. Pastors are supposed to be available to you. Even if you don't feel like you can talk to the people in the house with you, pick up that phone and call your pastor. Call these hotlines. If you have to disconnect, as I said yesterday, from some people, do it. If you need a vacation, take it. Listen, things are going to keep rolling on whether you are part of it or not. It's time for you to get real. It's time, some of you, I'm going to just put it out there. It's time for you to retire. There is a reason there's an age taken to retire. Doesn't mean that you're incapable of doing the job anymore, of performing the job description. What it means is, you know what? I've done 40 years here and I'm tired now. It's time for me to go home. Time for me to take some much needed vacations. Don't work until now you got to retire because you're sick. No. Your retirement should be a time where it's a transition in your life, and I'm moving to my next, my next season in my life. Some of you are physically and you're emotionally drained and tired. Retire. Let it go. Step down. This is a call to action video today. I am telling you, you got to let go of stress. You've got to let go of toxic relationships, anything that is not fulfilling to you and keeping you in an uproar in your spirit. It's time for you to let it go. Free your mind so you can improve your mental health. Remember, this is a call to action video. Share this video with somebody. Hit the thumbs up button. Please give me some comments below. Subscribe if you have not already. And every video I say to you, get focused, find balance, and prioritize your peace. It's important. Wellness, your wellness is important. Your mental health is important. I'll see you back tomorrow. Thank you for watching.